So we are moving to the prelims proper, and here we have 4 fights, one debut. It starts off with the middleweight. We have got Vicente Luque against Tresean Gore. Okay, so the silent assassin Vicente Luque. He is 34, 5'11", 76-inch reach. He's got a pro record of 24-12-1. Fights out of Killcliff. He is 17-8 in the UFC, coming off a win in his last outing. Right? So, man, Luque, man, it feels like he's been doing it for a minute, right? He came off of season 21 of The Ultimate Fighter, right? Season 21. God damn it. You know, that was 2015. Damn, right? He won his first fight with a Das. He lost the next round via a split to Haida Hassan. Because I think this was the... I think it was the Black Zillions American Top Team season. I think that's what season 21 was. Maybe I'm wrong. Yes, no, it was that season. Yeah. So yes, he came from that, made his debut proper on the 12th of July 2015. He lost a unanimous decision to Mike Graves, but came back with a win over Haida Hassan, right? Caught him with an anaconda choke in the first round, got his first performance of the night with that one, and that he went on a 4-fight streak, so it was Haida Hassan, Alvaro Herrera, Hector Urbina, Gilbert's brother, right, and then Bilal Muhammad. And his next loss was to former champion Leon Edwards. So it's just like, when you look at Vicente, he has fought he's got a win over Jalen Turner, who's fighting on this card. You know what I mean? Like, tough people. Mike Perry, Brian Barberina. He's fought Nico Price a couple of times. 2 wins there. Right? Randy Brown, Tyron Woodley. Michael Chiesa, right? He loves a Das choke, does Vicente. Yeah, he has fought so many people. And last time out, right, he sunk an anaconda choke on Kevin Gastelum, right? That was the 11th of April this year. So yeah, he's still getting wins, and that also broke a 2-fight skid, right? He lost to Kevin Holland. Holland caught him in an anaconda, right? Which is, because it's funny, he beat Vicente, he beat Feremba Gorumbe with an anaconda choke, right, on the 7th of December 2024. And then on the 7th of June, the following year, Kevin Holland hit him with the anaconda, right? He then lost a decision to Joel Álvarez, who's also on the card, right? But so the win over Gastelum snapped that little skid, you know what I mean? So Vicente, man, he can still do it, right? He can still do it. And that's good, because there was a moment, right? The fight against Joaquin Buckley, where you did question things, because it's not the loss. It was just Vicente in that loss, because he really looked like he didn't really care to be there. It was an odd one, you know. But I think in recent fights he has looked, you know, more akin to his former self, right? So yeah, Vicente, man, he's got so many different chokes, right? He can win in so many different ways on the ground, which is just you know, and he's got stoppages, right? He's knocked people out, right? So there is that as well. But I think you do know that the jiu-jitsu is maybe where he's gonna look to really do his thing. So yeah, he's going up against a fellow Ultimate Fighter vet, Mr. Vicious Tresean Gore, who is 32, 6 foot, 75-inch reach. So yeah, Vicente has actually got the slightly longer reach in 76 inches, right? Gore is just slightly taller, so he is kind of close on that regard. And yeah, Lupe's only 2 years older. When you consider how long Lupe's been in the game, right? It's only 2 years difference. All right, so Gore's overall record is 6-4. He is 3-4 in the UFC. He is also coming in off of a win in his last outing, right, which was 4th of April this year. He hit Azamat Bekayov with a guillotine in the 3rd round. Okay, so yeah, Gore came via the Ultimate Fighter. It was season 29, right? So that was in 2021, right? He beat Ryder Newman and then Gilbert Urbina, losing to Brian Battle in the final, right? On the 5th of February 2022. He then made his debut on the 9th of July 2022. That was a loss to Cody Brundage. Bounced back with a performance of the night win over Josh Friend. Yeah, caught him with a guillotine in the 2nd round. He then beat Antonio Tricoli, another gilly. All right, got stopped by Marco Tulio. He missed weight and lost a decision to Rodolfo Vieira. But yeah, bounced back with the Bekayov win, which is another guillotine, right? He does like a guillotine, does Gore. So yeah, there is that. It's an interesting fight because, yeah, I think Gore's base is wrestling, right? So he has got that, right? He's very good with the guillotine, but Vicente is very good on the ground, as we know. So with this one, I would say if we have Vicente on his game, I think he wins this fight. You know what I mean? If it's the Vicente that fought Buckley, then I think Gore can take it. So, yeah, I think I'm actually going to throw my hat. I think originally I was going to go with Gore, but I think I'm going to go with Vicente. I think I'm going to go with Vicente here. Now, obviously, I think we'll know a lot more after the weigh-ins. I think we'll essentially know on the walkout, right? Because as I say, it depends what Vicente turns up. So in that walkout, you might go, oh, yeah, it doesn't look good. Right? But if it's, I think Vicente can get this done. Okay, so we stick with the middleweights, right? We have got Eric McConico against Donte Johnson. So yeah, Eric McConico, he is, let's get to his record, 36, 6 foot, 77-inch reach. Okay, he's 11-4-1, fighting out of the MMA lab, right? In the UFC, he's 2-2. Coming off of a win in his last fight, right? So, yeah, he made his debut, on the 22nd of February 2025, right? He got stopped by Nursultan Ruzaev in the second round, but bounced back with a split decision over Cody Brundage. He got stopped in the third by Basangar Sakarev. Basangar is just murking people, so, but yeah, right. I think McConaughey, it wasn't a great performance for him that night, right? Basangar basically had that fight all the way, really. He did bounce back with a unanimous decision over Rodolfo Vieira. That was on the 25th of April this year. So, yeah, McConaughey is one of those fighters, like, sometimes he can look very promising and sometimes, I don't know, you question a fight IQ, right? He's not always making the best decisions in there. And, he's going up against lockjaw Donte Johnson, right? Who, he is 27, 5'8", 74-inch reach. He is 8-0, right? He is 2-0 in the UFC. He came via the Contender Series, and he's on a 9-fight win streak. Whew. Right? So, man, got that contract on the 26th of August, 2025. First round stoppage over Darion Abbey. Right? Then made his debut same year, right? 1st of November. Beat Sadiq Dumas with a gilly in the second round. Got a split decision over Cody Brundage on the 7th of March this year. So the McConaughey fight will be second outing of 2026, right? So, right, like, I think it's a 9-fight streak because of his last amateur fight, right? Did pretty well in his amateur career. Just lost once. Now, when you look at things, his first 3 fights were first round knockouts, right? Actually, all his fights up to the Contender Series were first round knockouts, right? The Contender Series was a first round knockout. So, yeah, he does do that. But, the Sadiq fight went to the second, and his last fight went all 3. So, yeah, he does like a knockout, right? And I think his skills, he's very dynamic. Yeah, I think I'm taking Johnson for the win over Eric McConaughey. Right, so then that takes us to a catchweight bout, 130 pounds. Right, we got Charles Johnson against Eduardo Henrique. And this is because, right, like, Johnson's original opponent, Jose Ocho, right, got injured. So not able to make the walk. So just on a few days' notice, Eduardo Henrique Chapali, right, he steps up. He is 35'7", 67-inch reach, 15-2 overall record. Okay. He's on a 2-fight win streak. And it's interesting because, he had tried out for The Ultimate Fighter, season 33, right? Lost to Joseph Morales in the first round. Right. So before that, he had won. Okay, let's just do, right? Because he'd won the LFA title, beat Cody Davis, 4th round knockout. That was on the 17th of November, 2023. He then defends that belt August 2024, right? Knocked out Igor Sakira in the first. Then went on The Ultimate Fighter. That, as I say, he lost in the opening round. So went back, defended his belt on the 22nd of August, 2025. And a first round knockout over Devon Lezuge. Tried for the Contender Series. He won, right? Got a unanimous decision over Tornhoy, right? On the 2nd of September, but didn't get a contract. So, it's like, you know what I mean? The skill set was understood, right? So now he gets that call for the UFC, which, I'm not mad at, right? I think it shows a lot, right? The fact that LFA champ tried the Ultimate Fighter, didn't work, came back and defended that belt with a blistering knockout. You know what I mean? So I think that tells you a lot about him. It didn't work, so he goes back to the regionals. Came to the Contender Series, didn't quite work, though he did get the win. And now it's a short notice bout, but it's another opportunity to showcase his skills and say, listen, I'm meant for this, right? So when you look at the earlier fights, I think knockout is probably what he's trying to do the most. There have been a few chokes, right? He's caught a rear naked, but not really, right? The main thing he's looking to do, if it's not going the distance, is knocking someone out, right? So he'll be facing Inner G, Charles Johnson, who gets to stay on the card, which is all good. Johnson's 35, 5'9", 70-inch reach, right? So, has a 3-inch reach advantage and a 2-inch in height over Henrique, yes. He's 19-9 overall, right? Fighting out a Tiger Muay Thai. In the UFC, he's 8-7, right? Coming off of a loss, but he is like the most active UFC fighter. I think it says like he fights every 90 days or something like that. But, he's mad active, right? Which is useful. It's very useful. Sometimes it doesn't go his way. You know, but he's pulled off some just sensational wins, right? He was the first person to stop Joshua Van, right? The same with Lonnie Kavanagh, right? It's bad. Like, I feel bad for the Alex Perez loss because Perez did miss weight, right? So, man, if you're coming in a lot heavier, then yeah, you're gonna your hands. That's a different thing, right? So there are those. Right, got choked by Azu Amabayev in the third round last time out. Right, that was the 27th of June this year. So he is looking to turn it around quickly, which I completely understand. And the thing with the regularity with Johnson is his comfortability in the cage. You know, and I think that's definitely a big one, right? Just being comfortable, things flowing, right? And I think that will pay into this fight, right? Because Henrique, he's his last fight, it was last year, wasn't it? Right? It was the 2nd of September. So I think in that time, right, since his last fight, Johnson has fought, sorry, 3 times. Yeah. You know, Johnson's fought 3 times in that space, right? And he fought just before that on the 23rd of August. So, yes, I think Johnson has just got that comfortability, you know, and I think there's a lot, right? Henrique making his debut, you know, it's a numbered event, right? I think there is, even now though at the Apex with the new setup, right? The bigger crowd, right? That's got an added pressure to it. But I think Johnson can definitely get this one done. I think the original Jose Ocho that was definitely a tough test. I think this could be a tougher test if Henrique had more time and if he'd been fighting more regularly. But yeah, I think with this one, I'm going with my boy Inner G to get the win. Okay, so our final fight of the prelims, we're going to welterweights, right? We got Chidi Njokuani against Joel Álvarez, right? So El Fenomeno Joel Álvarez, he's stepping in on mad short notice for this one, right? He's 33, 6'3", 77-inch reach. He's 23-4 overall. 8-3 in the UFC, coming in off of a loss, right? So we saw him on the 9th of May, right, this year. And he got kind of smoked by Yanislav Asimov, right? He got kind of owned in that fight. Now, there's no shame in that. Asimov is a former Bellator champion. I think he was PFL as well, right? But former champion, legit fighter. Only lost once. So yeah, there's no shame in that. But yes, short notice. But you know what I mean? Like, you can understand because, as I said, he got kind of owned in that fight. So before that, he'd been blazing. You know what I mean? He'd been blazing. So you know he wants to get that back. Right? Wants to get that back. right? You know what I mean? He lost his UFC debut back on the 23rd of February 2019. Lost a decision to Damir Ismagulov, right? But then he just went on a tear, right? Beat Danilo Bellardo, Joe Duffy, Alexander Yakovlev, Tiago Maes. He then got stopped by Arman Tsarukyan, but beat Mark Ducasse, Elvis Brenner, Drakkar Klose, Vicente Luque, and then this most recent win. So it's just like, because people had been definitely talking about Álvarez as someone that could get into that title mix, right? But then that Asimov fight, that's a as John Alec would say, a 2-year title setback, right? So he's like, let me get back in there quickly. Let me try and do something big so people do not forget about me, right? So you completely understand what he's trying to do, right? Now, for some of those wins, he did miss weight, right? But it does seem that he's got that well under control now. And he's got chokes, right? Darces, triangles, guillotines, arm bars. He can also knock you out. So yeah, Álvarez does come with the skills. Now he's stepping in there with Chidi, Njokuani, right? Bang bang. Who's 37, 6'3", 80-inch reach. His reach is ridiculous. He's got a 3-inch advantage over Álvarez. They're the same height. But yeah, Chidi is 4 years older. His overall record is 25-12 with 1 no contest. He is 5-5 in the UFC. It's on a 2-fight skid. So yeah, this could be the make or break for Chidi, right? He's coming up via the Contender Series. He won that contract on the 7th of September 2021. Stopped Mario Souza in the 3rd round. His debut on the 5th of February 2022. Right? Stopped Marc-André Barriet in the 1st. Got a performance of the night. Got another performance in his next fight with a 1st round over Dusko Todorovic. Right? Then things got a little bit squirrely, right? He lost to Gregory Rodriguez, Albert Duvarev, and Michael Olachek. He was able to get a win over Reese McKee, Jared Gordon, Alessio Zaleski dos Santos, right? But then, right, Jake Matthews and Carlos Leal were able to best him. Matthews got him with a rear naked, but Leal unanimous decision. Which is kind of, the Leal fight is very, that's a disappointing one. Right? Because you kind of feel Chidi should have won that fight. Right? And some of them, he's looked good in. Like, he looked good against Rodriguez for a minute, and then it all slipped away. And that's the thing, man. Like, Chidi is so skillful. Right? So skillful. But for whatever reason, he's just not able to put it together at this moment in time. You know? And being 37, it's kind of like, if you're going to put together a title run, if you're going to do the thing you want to do, Like, it's now or never, right? But it's just at this stage of the game, you need to be like savvy in all areas. You know, like, look, you don't have to be a Gordon Ryan on the ground, but you should know enough to stay safe. You should know enough to understand that someone's trying to sneak in a Darce choke, or if I move my arm, I'm giving him an arm bar or a triangle, right? Just, you should know those things. But on the ground, Chidi, he's not great. Not great. And it's a shame, because I really like Chidi. Man, his brother was also incredible, right? But yeah, even though it's short notice, I think Álvarez has a more rounded game, you know? And I think this fight, although on the feet, Chidi can knock you out, right? His kicks are just insanity. But, right, I just think it's probably going to get to the ground at some point, and then Álvarez will be able to implement his game. Yeah, I'm taking Álvarez for a win, possibly a submission, right? It's definitely a good fight, right? It might not be a long one, but it's a good fight to take us to our main card.